Hi everyone, hola Houston, it's Elizabeth Miranda, your bilingual realtor with Miranda Properties, and today I just wanted to make a quick video to talk to you about a couple of things that, a couple of questions that came up this last week from clients or prospects, and so it's things that I think that, is beneficial to everyone else. So the first thing is, I actually had two people ask me about buying homes cash. So the first person asked me, what is the process? How long is the process? Is it different than when you're buying with a loan? So yes, absolutely, it's different. If you are buying cash for a home, then of course you're not gonna. It's not gonna take you a week or two, whatever, to get a pre-approval. You don't have to go through the pre-approval process. So right there, you're saving time. You also don't have to go through the entire loan process. So instead of it taking you 30 to 45 days to close, it could take you, 10 days to close. I've honestly just not too long ago closed a cash deal that it took us 7 days to close. So if you're buying cash, the process is a lot shorter. All we really need to do is find a home. So the second question that I had from someone, they asked me, what if they know that they're going to be coming into some money pretty soon, say 6 months, say the person's going to retire, or maybe you're getting a court settlement or a divorce settlement, anything like that you already know that you're going to be getting a good amount of money and you're looking to buy a home cash. Then they asked me when they should start looking. Well, you want to start looking when you have the cash in the bank already. There's really no sense in looking right now, because if you find a home that you like and you want us to submit an offer, we're going to have to send in proof of funds. In other words, we're going to have to send in a bank statement or a letter from your bank showing as evidence that you have that money in the bank when we submit the offer. A seller is going to want to see that before they take their house off the market. They always require either a pre-approval from a lender, or if you're paying cash, they need to see proof of funds. They need to see the money in the bank. So I would recommend to someone, if you know that it's going to be 6 months when you're going to be coming into some money, then honestly wait for those 6 months. Wait till you have your money in the bank so that you can start looking. The other thing the person asked me was, does the money have to be there for a certain amount of time? In other words, does it have to be what we call seasoned? No, it doesn't have to be seasoned. In most situations, it doesn't have to be. There was a time before that it did have to sit in the bank for a while, but right now for most banks it doesn't have to be. You can basically put the money in there and buy the home right away cash. If you're buying the home cash, that's not a problem. You could get your retirement or your settlement, whatever, put it in the bank today, and we can start looking for a home tomorrow. That's not an issue. Now, another thing is that if you're going to be, any money that you do use, by the way, for closing costs, for a down payment, that is important, by the way, that it is sourced and seasoned, or at least sourced. By that we mean is we need to see where the money came from. So if you are going to be, say, taking money from your 401k to use for down payment or for closing costs, there's a process for that. Make sure that you get with a loan officer first and ask and get with them on how that money has to be pulled from the 401k into your bank. Don't do it yourself. Wait till you're working with a loan officer so they can tell you the proper steps. Another thing is, right now with income tax season, a lot of people are using their tax returns to buy a home, to give as a down payment or their closing costs. It is very important that you keep proof of where that money came from. In other words, you get your check, make sure you keep a copy of that check, or if it's a direct deposit into your account, make sure that it stays there. I had a few years ago, I had a couple, a man and woman, that they had a tax return. They got a tax return, or a tax refund rather, for $8,000. And this couple cashed the check, and then they let someone borrow a couple of $1,000s. Then when that person paid them back the money, they took their cash and they put it in the bank when they were already ready to close on the home, or when they were ready to buy a home. And so there was a problem there, because the money that was in the bank was cash. You know, it wasn't from their, they couldn't show that it was actually from their tax return. So one, they didn't have that, the tax return check stub, but more importantly, they had cashed the check. And so it was a couple of weeks later that they put the cash in the bank. So when you do that, I mean, common sense, I guess, would tell you that that's what you did, but to the bank, they don't see that as common sense. To them, it's like, okay, you got the tax return, it should have gone straight into your bank account. Why would you go and cash the check? And so they had a big problem. They honestly could not use that money. The bank would not approve for them to use that money for their closing costs of their down payment, because they don't know where that money came from. They didn't know where the money came from, so they were not allowing them to use that for their down payment and closing costs. So it is important, even when it's money that you're using for your down payment and for your closing costs, any money that's in the bank, it is important that you're able to show where it came from. So if it's coming from the 401k, there's a process. If it's from your tax return, it must go directly into your bank. Make sure you have proof. I had another guy, by the way, one time also, that he sold some jewelry. He sold like $10,000 worth of jewelry, and he sold it for cash. Then he got that cash and he put it in his bank, and that became an issue also, because it was just cash that he had put in there, and the bank was not comfortable not knowing where that money had come from, not being able to prove. So make sure that you get with your loan officer or with your realtor first before you make any moves, any financial moves, before you deposit any cash into the bank, because that is actually pretty important. But again, just to make sure I'm not confusing you, when it comes to your cash, if you're buying a home cash from a retirement or from any other source, major source, then just have the money straight into the bank. Put the money straight into the bank. All right. One more thing I want to cover real quick is about income tax. Now that we're talking about income tax, if you are self-employed, guys, make sure that you don't take off so many deductions that then it shows that you're not making enough money. I also had that question come up just this weekend. Someone is self-employed as a hairdresser, and they said they wanted to get approved for a $200,000 home. And as I explained to them, yes, you can do it, but you cannot go crazy on the deductions on your income tax and show that you're making very little money. In other words, if you're bringing in $100,000, but then you know, your tax preparer prepares your taxes and takes off, you know, crazy amount of deductions, and you wind up with an adjusted gross income of $20,000, well, that's not gonna, you're not gonna be able to buy a $200,000 home when your tax return is showing that you really, your net, your adjusted gross income was only $20,000. So keep that in mind right now that you're filing tax returns, that you must show that you're making money. All right. So I hope this has helped you. As always, if you have any questions, send me a message. If you have any comments, certainly let me know. Any personal experiences, let me know. I really appreciate it. And as always, if you're looking to buy or looking to sell, let me know. I'll be happy to help you. My name is Elizabeth Miranda. I am your bilingual realtor with Miranda Properties.